G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it.
Hi, I'm AJ for Quickfire Friday for the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm here with the loveliest Eve, who's the founder of Redbridge HR, and they're helping businesses all across Australia. So let's do this, Eve. Firstly, can you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hey, AJ, it's good to see you and thanks for having me on. So my name's Eve Nelson and our business is Redbridge HR. We started probably about six or 7 years ago here in beautiful Tasmania, where we saw a gap in the market for businesses that may have needed some sort of HR help, but didn't necessarily need to hire a full-time HR manager. And from that, we've organically grown into different areas, still within the HR space, but offering a whole range of products and services to businesses of any size, whatever they need.
Beautiful. Thank you. What do you typically solve for your clients, particularly in the last little while? Is there any common threads of things that you're solving for the clients that you work with?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things floating around these days around issues with employment contracts, because we're constantly getting changes in legislation or Fair Work Act and things like that is constantly happening, and people just want to stay on top of any changes. So there's always discussions with clients around employment contracts and how valid they are, or what we need to do to keep up to speed with those changes. Also, any time of the year, not just necessarily lately, staff performance issues. There's always something going on in a business that somebody may need advice on. It may be the business owner. It may be business managers. I do occasionally have staff coming to me as well to talk to me. Our business prides itself on being there for both the staff, the managers and the staff as well. Sometimes we find we've got to protect business owners from themselves, not necessarily on what may happen with their staff. A lot of our work these days as well is around mentoring new managers. I think business people do see value in recruiting from within when they have new positions or positions opening up, which is great, always encouraged. However, it can raise some challenges if we're recruiting people into a management position and they've never managed people before. So mentoring new managers and helping them navigate that tricky phase of going from the employee's mate now to their manager. So there's a lot going on in that space as well. But we also do a lot of workplace investigations for more serious matters if things are at that point, because if they are at that point, it really is very important that you probably bring in somebody outside to investigate serious workplace issues and not have them done from within. I know we've only got 20 minutes. I could prattle on for hours about different cases that have come up out of the commission and the courts.
Oh, so interesting. That's another podcast. Let's book that in.
Isn't there? Yeah, a whole lot of conversation. But yeah, businesses conduct investigations internally into serious matters that may or may not result in termination of employment, and usually get themselves tricked up within the courts. So it's highly recommended that if you've got a matter like that, you definitely take it to an outside or a third party to conduct investigations. So that kind of makes up a majority of what we do at this stage, but we certainly are always around to help out small businesses, mum and dad businesses that are wanting to take on a staff member or help them with their policies and procedures just to get them started. Because everybody's got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, no, totally. So much to unpack there. And it's kind of like, it's happening in marketing as well, the fractional CMO that, you just bring in the expertise when you need it, as you need it, or just in time. I mean, there's so many things there I really loved. I never thought about that kind of, I don't know if this is the right term, but onboarding a new manager that's in the business, that difference from taking from employee, like you said, a mate or a friend, to that next level in their career and those added responsibilities. I never thought about that. That's an awesome service. And I want to get back to workplace investigations because I absolutely know nothing about that space. But firstly, what do you love most about what you do?
A lot of it, actually. What gets me out of bed in the morning is knowing that I'm going to be working with people who need our services, who value our services. It doesn't matter what industry we're in. We work across a number of industries, but working with people that know they don't know HR side of things and want us to come in and really help them either learn if that's what they want to do, or we partner with them as well if that's what they prefer, and just to see those businesses thrive and grow, get good people in that complement their business, and just see happy clients.
Yeah.
It really does fill my cup, working with people that know that they don't know these things, and take it on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see it often, particularly in your LinkedIn posts, that balance between, I would call it the technical side of what you offer and what a business needs, but then so much the people side. It actually comes through with how you move through the world. I absolutely love that. Going back to the workplace investigation, as part of your service and your, your expertise, what are some of the signs that a business would need to do that? Like, do people leave it till too late, or like how does that work? Or are there red flags?
Oh, absolutely. There's red flags, and some of them are bleedingly obvious. If we've got issues like theft or fraud or things like that, they're usually pretty obvious. But to be able to manage that process properly, investigations have to be conducted. But other signs that something may be going on that may just pique your interest before we get to that critical stage. We may see things like reduced productivity within our team or unhappy team members. Poor morale within a business is something that, managers sometimes do tend to ignore, not because they don't really care. They may not be aware of it. So, really understanding the morale within your business. If it is a poor morale, why? What's the cause of it? Are there issues within the team? Are there issues amongst your staff members? Um, Complaints and issues, things like that will increase as well within a business if you've got something bubbling away. I think one sure way for a business owner or a business manager to understand what's going on within their teams is to be a part of them, sit with your teams,
Hmm.
be engaged with them, and have conversations, open and honest conversations with them, and give them the safe space to have a two-way conversation. If they've got issues with their manager, if they've got issues with you, let's talk about it. And it's not an easy thing to do. It is one of those things that comes with practice, but to get to that easy stage, it's outside a lot of the comfort zone for people. But to be an effective manager, you've just got to push through. And once you've got those sort of communication lines open, or that safe environment for staff to come to you, if issues arise early enough, you can deal with them before they get to a critical level. Um, Bigger the organisation, the more issues that you're going to have. So it's important that we train our managers as well to recognise any of those signs that something's not right. Again, it's a learned trait, and
Yes.
you've just got to keep ploughing through until you can get there.
Oh, there's so many points I just wrote down. Even that last one, a learned trait. I mean, yeah, it's not, you don't wake up knowing these skills, particularly if you're an emerging leader or just, taken on a new role, responsibility of particularly to people management. Yeah, you don't just suddenly have these skills. And
No,
you're right, that courage and vulnerability as a manager or leader to be able to go, please give me feedback and listen, with an open heart and open mind. That doesn't just happen. It just hard.
No. No, and vulnerability is a really good word to use, AJ. If you're going to be an effective manager, you need to be vulnerable. You need to be open to learning, to change, to grow. And I am digressing a little, but you also need to understand how your staff like to be managed. Not everybody likes to be managed the same way and can be managed the same way. And in this, sort of new world that we're in, we don't even have our staff working under the same roof in some organisations. So unless you know how to talk to your staff and how to manage your staff, you're not going to know if there's issues within your business or your team anyway. So as a leader, you're right, you do need to be vulnerable and open to change and learning new things to stay effective.
I think part of this is what I've learned anyway, and I've definitely seen it in really great leaders. Part of that vulnerability is actually asking for help, aka someone like what you offer. It's like asking for that third party, expertise, experience. I mean, you can fluff your way through some of this stuff or Google it, but it's going to take so much longer, and the cost of that, both in time and human emotion and money, all the stuff. It never weighs up, so yeah. What are some of the ways that you see, because it's all about me now and marketing. I always have to turn it back to me. And look, at Grow a Small Business, we think about opportunities and challenges for business owners in kind of 5 pillars, and strategy, systems, funding, but the people and the marketing bit, a huge bit, as some examples that you just gave. And for a long time, I've thought, these 2 functions have to work so much closer together.
Mm.
How important do you think it is in your view and experience that internal branding or marketing is, and how can HR and marketing work closer together?
I think those 5 pillars or those key tasks in any organisation need to all work together. Without one, you haven't got the other. Without marketing your business, you don't have the staff. It can go on and on. So I think it's really important that you all work closely together. And your internal marketing, it's one of those things that you need to be on top of. You need to talk to your staff. You need to keep at the forefront of their minds, because internal marketing is one of those elements of a business that I think they hear the word marketing, so it must be their job. It's all over there. The marketing people do that. It's not. It's a team effort. You've got to get everybody on board, and be part of the flow, and make them feel like they're contributing, and get their buy-in. Otherwise, we develop a silo kind of organisation, and I think we all know that that's never effective.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, I'm sure you would have seen this is the same with the expertise and the function that you represent. It's that's someone else's problem. They have to deal with that. Whereas those cultural things, those vulnerability and leadership, all those things. I mean that affects everyone, and everyone can own that. And we're more open, or at least have the channels, I guess, to about have those 2-way conversations.
And it's really funny that, even just to make sure that you've got the right people working together and cohesively really does start way back at our recruitment process, and talking to the team on the sort of people we need to bring into our business. Because if we bring the wrong people in, it just takes, sort of one person to sort of filter through negative attitudes and can completely destroy a team. So it's something you really need to consider way back at the recruitment phase about the type of person you want to bring in, not just the skills.
Yeah, got you. It's that values alignment piece, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which I know, in my observations anyway, it sort of like trends in and out with regards to recruitment. But actually, I saw a post the other day, and I'd forgotten about this. They were talking about stay interviews rather than exit interviews. Like, why
Oh,
do people stay? And I was like, "Oh, so good." Like, and I know a lot of business out there, they've got 1,000 balls in the air and there's a zillion things going on, but, I thought even if a couple of times a year you could ask your people why they stay, that would be such a beautiful conversation.
I think that'd be a great conversation to be had around their performance review
Oh,
stage.
yes. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. Well, why, what do you want out of the next 12 months? What can we do to help you stay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
it. All right.
Because
Look
I
forward.
mean, we all know. I'm telling people what they already know here, but you lose staff, you lose so much knowledge and information out of your business, and to bring somebody in and start from bottom level and have somebody cold that doesn't understand your business, that doesn't know the policies, the processes, the procedures. It's an expensive exercise, and I don't necessarily just mean in dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you just made a really fantastic point. It's that knowing bit, and that's great. And it's some of the things, we may have heard about before, but it's the doing and the actually acting on it.
Yeah,
So whether that's asking for help or, calling someone, having a chat, or just getting that support, because you keep putting it off because, as we know, busy business owner or founder or, CEO or managing director or whatever are juggling, numerous things. So weeks go by, months go by, rather
that's
than,
it.
the doing bit. Yeah.
That knowing doing gap can be quite crippling at times, can't it?
Yes. I couldn't remember the term, knowing doing go. Totally. I mean, don't worry, I'm not perfect. I know things sometimes, and then the doing bit, I don't know,
Oh, I
procrastinate.
think I think everybody would, if they thought about it, have some sort of experience of that knowing doing gap. It's human nature.
Human nature. I think, especially when we talk about people, there's just, not doing anything. There's so much, like you just, you mentioned a couple of examples. There's so much at risk,
Mm.
not only obviously to the business, but to colleagues and to the person themselves. There's so much more at risk when you don't get that right.
That's it. That's it. And one more way to lose good staff is to promote bad staff.
Right.
So that's critical in a business, that you're recruiting, or sorry, promoting the right people into the right roles.
Got you. Is that something that is part of your offering in and around that performance review solution?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is critical that managers and business owners really do know what's going on with their team,
Yeah.
and how everybody's performing, whether they report directly to them or not. It's important that they are across the team's performance, and how it's working cohesively.
Want specific advice to help you get your business through its #1 growth challenge? Book a free 20-minute growth chat with me, Troy, the founder of Grow a Small Business. I'll recommend some resources which will help you grow your business with ease so you can live the lifestyle you've signed up for. Go to growasmallbusiness.com and click on Growth Chat.
Do you find in smaller teams some of that work can sort of go by the wayside? Also, I'm just talking like 5 or 6 team members, say, versus a 20 or 30 person organisation. Do you think because it's more of that friendship, mate feel, and things like that get forgotten, or is that not the case?
Not necessarily. I think it's easier to hide in a team of 20 than it would be in a team of 5.
Right.
So if you're not performing, it's certainly going to come out more in a smaller team.
Yeah.
Or if people aren't getting along, that sort of thing will come out more in a smaller team. But that doesn't mean working in a team of 20 is the way to go.
Yeah.
You just need to, if you're managing a team of 20, hopefully you started managing a team of 5 and you've learnt your skills and honed your skills to manage 20 different or have 20 different management styles, as opposed to learning 4 or 5 at the start.
Yeah, great point. Any emerging trends in your field of experience that you're seeing now that are good to sort of put on the table, at least for people to be aware of?
Look, obviously working from home
Yeah,
is
right.
a huge factor now in the world we're in, and having the right policies, processes, and procedures in place to make sure people are performing, that they're safe in their workplace. Because if they're working from home and they're on the clock, they're in a workplace. So
Right.
you need to make sure that you're across any of your work cover or insurance and things like that. Um, and I think one of the other trends that we're seeing at the moment is, I don't want to say giving your team freedom, but letting your staff do their job, and as long as they're doing their job, and if they need to leave at 2:00 in the afternoon, they can go,
Right.
and a lot more flexibility in the workplace, because I think we have all really learned the value of, really don't want to say it though, work-life balance, and how it can benefit our staff if they've
Yeah.
got that freedom, that flexibility to be able to mix the two, and it's not necessarily a 9 to 5 world.
Got ya. That's a whole another podcast, right? Just that whole,
Yeah.
there's so much going on.
I think we've probably got ourselves another 3 or 4 podcasts
Oh
out of this
yeah,
conversation.
exactly. Well, to close out, gorgeous Eve, firstly, thank you so much for taking the time. Super appreciate it. So lovely to talk to you. What action would you like to leave business owners that are listening to the podcast with to think about over the next week?
Really drill down and talk to your staff to get feedback on how your managers are performing. A classic example, one of my clients, we had actually it was a redundancy, and one of their managers left the business. And once that manager had left the business, the amount of complaints, concerns, and issues that came to the business owner about this manager was staggering, and the potential damage that it could have done. So, just to put that into a nutshell, really speak to your staff, your clients, your customers as well on how your managers are performing, because they really are. And I'm tipping into marketing here, but they're flying the flag of your business. They're the face of your business. So make sure that they're doing the right thing.
Thank you so much, Eve, and extra points for popping in the word marketing.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Great to
you.
talk to you, AJ. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Bye.
See ya.
We'd greatly appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to leave our podcast a review on iTunes. If you don't have an account, simply follow us on Spotify. You'll help other small business owners find the cast and valuable content our guests share.